Last week, I remember something that happened a long time ago. When I was returning from church, I met this Ikupa from my uncle. Yeah, so he's a Muslim. And then he asked me that, oh, jokingly anyway, that what did the pastor preach at church today? Da, 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 da. Can you still remember? And I was surprised. And while I was still trying to put my words, together, it started, more like joke, like ha 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 ha. He laughed and those things. And it was like you see yourself, you've forgotten. And right there, I felt like, wait, it's not like I've forgotten, but you have not even allowed me to speak. Yeah. But that went on, that happened, and we discussed, that went off. And just last week I remember I just flashed through that experience. And because I saw some things that happened recently last week, and I thought to myself that, wait, are we sure this is not the fate of so many Christians, so many believers, especially now, the the technology age where we don't even get to take our Bibles to the church. You know, there's a screen to project whatever we want to read on in church and all of that. That do we actually still remember what our pastors preach at church? And even if we remember, do we actually do them? And it just puts me on this spot. Like I think it's something we should explore. I mean, something I should talk about. That maybe we should go back to the basics. But if not even maybe, we should go back to the basics. How about we go back to the foundation? How about we go back to that place of total surrenderness? Like Second Timothy chapter 2 verse 15 says, "Study to show thyself approved." You know, studying the word of God to get to know God better, to get to know who He is, not just listening to those preaching and just letting it go there. I know many of us try to go back home and study the word of God personally. But how about still going back to some of those things that we wrote down, especially for the people that take time to write one or two things down at church? Maybe in your iPad, maybe on your phone, maybe on your notebook. Why don't we deliberately go back to these things and study them? So, because it will help. I believe it will really help a lot. I believe that a lot of Christians have forgotten so many things, and we just go to church for the activities. We go to church because we want to sing in church. We go to church because we want to usher people in. We go to church because some people go to church because they want to look good or meet people. Well, maybe not too bad, those things, because it's still service to God. But how about taking His words seriously? How about learning to know God better so we can live to please Him? How about doing that? I believe that is much more important than any other thing in this world or any other thing we do at church. So this week, especially this coming Sunday, make it something you want to try out again. It is still possible. You can still do it. Make sure you go to church and do not just go to church. Make sure you pay more attention to the word. And when you get back home, try as much as possible. Try as much as possible to create time to study the word over and over and get to know God better. I believe it is possible if you want to make it happen. I will definitely speak to you again. Take care of yourself. Bye.